I do not care about Super Mario Galaxy. This video isn't really going to be focused on the Nintendo Switch version of these games because I'm not going to buy them. Unless they go on sale or something, or I find them used for a good price, or somebody forces me against my will to buy them. I'm going to stand my ground, I'm not buying these. I'll briefly discuss them here anyway because I feel like they're worth bringing up. This sucks. $70 for the bundle and $40 separate for two nearly 20-year-old overrated Wii games. I'm dying over here, that's hilarious. This is easily one of their worst anniversary games. I'm not saying it's the worst only because this exists. It's just so incredibly lame and disappointing that this is the only anniversary game this time. One game that was already on the Switch, and its sequel that is incredibly similar. And what annoys me to no end is that people are completely overlooking and justifying how egregiously lazy and stupid this collection is just because it's the Galaxy games. People whined and complained about 3D All-Stars because it was limited time, yes, but also because of the value. 3 games for $60, while this, which is essentially the same exact concept but costs $10 more and only has 2 games. But it's Mario Galaxy, it's my favorite game when I was a mere baby child kid. It can do no wrong. They had such an easy win on their hands here. They could have simply brought back 3D All-Stars again, even if for a limited time, and add Galaxy 2 as part of a Switch 2 edition or something, and there you go. They might not have gotten great press or anything, but it for sure would have been better than this. I'll mainly be focusing on the first game since a lot of my issues carry over to the sequel. So let's get started with ruining my credibility and getting a hit placed on me. I can't say I like the way this game controls. It's not really slippery like Mario Sunshine is. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It feels so stiff and I don't feel like I get enough momentum to do anything. It's just so sluggish to control in my opinion, which leads the game to feeling so slow. And this game's moveset is just way too limited in my opinion. And I can't say that I like the gravity planet gimmick at all. It's so awkward to control and mess with, especially with the atrocious camera in the game. We're back to square one with only being able to move the camera in increments, unlike in Sunshine where you were able to move it freely. It may have sucked there too, but at least you could move it wherever you wanted to. I get that you originally used the D-pad on the Wii version, but like, why would that affect anything? Just make it so that holding down on the D-pad allows for smooth camera movement. Why is it like this? Okay, sure, maybe having a freely rotating camera wouldn't work that well when you're walking on a planet, but there's plenty of instances where you're not walking on a planet where they could have let you have a freely movable camera. So I don't know, make the incremental camera only for the planets and the actual usable camera for normal ground. At least it's not exactly like 64's camera, it's quiet this time. This is a bit of a tangent, but give me a bit. Why on earth does the camera in Super Mario 64 have to make a sound every time you move it? It gets so annoying, and it's not like it's a slight noise or anything, it's pretty loud. Every other sound, including the game's music, gets drowned out by it. Okay, maybe that's being a little dramatic, but you get what I mean. Anyway, back to the most overrated game of all time. The pointer and motion controls in general are not my favorite. This is not the worst thing in the world by any means, but I can't say I enjoy flicking the Wii remote or pointing at stuff. Now, it would be hypocritical of me to bash the shaking since it's similar to how some moves in Super Mario Odyssey work. But at the same time, those are far from required to actually beat the game. In Galaxy, you have to shake the controller numerous times throughout the game to do your spin move, which, might I add, has got to be the lamest new move in any Mario game. Sunshine lets you fly around with a water jetpack. 3D Land lets you fly with the Tanuki suit. 3D World lets you be weird, and in Odyssey you can bounce off of a hat. 64 doesn't really have anything interesting, but it started the whole series, so I'll give it a pass. In Mario Galaxy you can spin around and like that punches stuff. Like, okay. It also lets you stall in the air, but that's whatever. And you have to do it constantly. It just gets really tedious. At least in the 3D All-Stars release and presumably the Galaxy Double Pack, you can just press Y, which is much better. However, the pointing got made worse. I already didn't like it. The Wii version's pointer was obviously tracked using the sensor bar, but in 3D All-Stars, you don't have a sensor bar, so it relies entirely on the Switch controller's gyroscope. And yes, it works for the most part, but you have to recalibrate every few minutes because the cursor just ends up having a mind of its own. They should have let you use the right analog stick or something because we all know you aren't going to be using using that for the camera. One last thing about the controls. I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, but sometimes when walking on a planet, Mario will just start walking in a circle instead of going forward. Like he'll just infinitely walk in a circle unless you stop moving. It's not that big of a deal, but it's pretty annoying. This game is corny. That's the best way I could describe it. It tries way too hard to be epic and emotional to the point where I just find it really cheesy. Like the part at the beginning when Kamek knocks Mario off the castle is supposed to be this intense moment, but like... I just cannot take this seriously. The gibberish dialogue from Kamek to Mario's scream, it just makes me laugh every single time. It's so funny. Oh, but Rosalina's backstory is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, if this is the first ever so slightly sad thing you've ever seen. It's nothing special in my opinion, and thankfully it's optional because going through it is a chore. Going through each page just takes way too long. And it's just pretty boring. I don't want to sit through this. I just want to sluggishly jump around a ball in space. Can't say that I'm a fan of the structure of this game either. It's this weird mix between the sandbox style of games like Mario 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey, and the more linear games like 3D Land and 3D World. Considering it's a mix, it almost makes this game feel like it doesn't know what it wants to be, in my opinion. It's the same levels over and over again, you just go to different parts of them like in 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey, but you're usually just following a set path. So there's no exploration, which leads the game to feeling repetitive to me. 3D Land and World both have next to no exploration either. However, that's traded out for more levels that never really get repetitive or boring. And lastly, the fandom for this game, there's really no good word to describe it. Loyal? I don't know. And I know a game's fan base doesn't really have anything to do with the game itself and shouldn't affect my enjoyment of it, but come on, I can't help it. These people are so annoying. They refuse to accept any and all criticism towards this game and instead brush it off as some sort of... These people refuse to accept any and all criticism towards this game and instead brush it aside as some of the following: hating it because it's popular, being new, being a child, or I kid you not growing up with the game. The best way to critique a video game is only speaking positively of it if you first played it when you were 2. I know making the fan base one of my issues is kind of proving the hating it because it's popular thing right, but it's not just because it's popular. If this game had 3 fans who all acted the exact same way as they do now, I'd dislike it just as much. I actually thought of a good word to describe this fan base. It's cultish in some instances. Like I saw someone say that he would literally die for these games. I know he was almost certainly joking, but I can't be the only one that thinks it's weird to say that you would die for a video game, right? Even as a joke. And it has gotten really bad since the Galaxy 2-pack thing was revealed. There are genuinely people out there that think $70 for 2 nearly 20-year-old games with minimal and superfluous changes is a good deal. I have seen countless people spew the same garbage, like, oh, well, it's $35 each for 2 of the greatest games of all time. It's actually a really good deal. No, it really isn't. Especially when you could have gotten both of them for the price it costs to get one back on the Wii U or through Nintendo Select. And sure, those didn't have any of the enhancements, but like, it being an HD with a few new storybook pages is really worth doubling the price to you. And if you said yes, I will look at you differently. I've also seen people claim that it's worth it because of, and you're going to want to write this down, nostalgia. I swear that's these people's favorite word. Nostalgia, nostalgia, nostalgia. That's all they ever talk about. Like, I get it, you played them when you were a baby, so that automatically makes them good in your eyes. You aren't able to accept any criticism of them because of that. I probably should have started with this because I know most of them will have already disliked and clicked off the video by now, but whatever. And I know it's not every Mario Galaxy fan, but the vocal minority is like this, and it is incredibly obnoxious. Also, some people act like this is proof the next 3D Mario is Galaxy 3. I doubt it, but I will admit that I'm a little bit worried it might be. And mark my words, I will not be playing it. I went 8 to 9 years without another 3D Mario. What's another decade? But at the end of the day, I don't really hate these games, but like the title says, I just don't really care about them. Sure, I may have made it seem like I hate them, but I don't. They are just both middle-of-the-road games for me, like the title suggests. I just don't really care about them. They're completely fine, but now that I've 100%ed both, I think I'm done with them for at least the next few years. So that's why my next video will be my 50 millionth Mario Odyssey video. You know, I should 100% that game again. It's been about a week and a half.
What did you say?
No way, it's Super Mario. That's crazy. I had no idea that you were real. Can I get your autograph? I'm such a big fan.
Clearly not, because you foolishly decided to criticize the greatest works of fiction ever created. You played a risky game by even toying with the idea that these games are overpriced. Nostalgia isn't free. Mario fans can never be grateful. You finally get a game that fans have been begging for, and you can't even be happy. No wonder why Nintendo rarely gives fans what they want. All they do is complain and whine about minuscule stuff. Come on, $40 isn't bad at all. You just really want Nintendo to go bankrupt. Personally, I think $59.99 for to perfect video games is a great price. And if you disagree and give even the slightest criticism, you're a whiny crybaby. For that, you must die.